Welcome. Hi, Angela. Hi, Davy. Hi, Rosita. Hi, Mary. Hi, Esme. Hey, TC. Hi, Britt. Oh, thanks for asking, Mary. My ankle is so much better. It's still in the healing process, but it's so much better. I'm walking. I was just right before our session started, walked over to get a glass of water, and I just took this moment to feel grateful for being able to walk swiftly to get my glass of water without having to hobble and limp and all of that. So thanks for checking in. Hola, mi amor. Beautiful. Thanks everyone for joining today. Hi, Kathleen. Mm, love is so good. So good. I'm just enjoying you sending each other loving comments. Love is so, so good. How's our sound? If I speak softly like this, can you still hear me? Testing, testing. Can you hear me? Okay, great. Thank you. Great. Hi, Mark. Wonderful. All right. Oh, thank you, Holly, for being here. Thank you. What a gift. What a gift to be alive. Hi, Gary. Oh, you better believe it. Gary's asking, can you feel the retrograde energy? I love that retrograde has become such a well-known uh, astrological period, that you can just find a slew of memes about it. Like today, I saw at least 3 or 4 memes about Mercury retrograde. And one of them, it said, this woman was doing something in the kitchen. And you heard a voiceover say, just a reminder, Mercury is in the microwave. And the woman who's in the kitchen goes, oh no, not again. And runs over to the microwave and opens it up. And there's a tiny little doll of Freddie Mercury singing Queen songs in the microwave. Anyway, maybe you had to be there, but it's good. It's good to poke fun, or, all of the memes that say things like, Mercury is no longer in retrograde. Everything's your fault again, things like this. So yes, it's a very potent time between the eclipses. And I mean, there's always potency happening, but I'm definitely feeling a lot of stirring. And maybe we'll speak to that a little bit today. Thanks for asking. All right. Well, yeah, and Pluto, yet is showing Pluto as well. Pluto is this planet that is, representation of this death, right? This death and rebirth. So a lot is probably coming to the surface for many with all of these different transitions happening. Hi, Anami. All right. Welcome, welcome, welcome. If you're not on Insight Timer with us, I invite you to join us on Insight Timer to be part of this interactive experience today, this community satsang coming together. My name is Selena Layel, and I'm so grateful for you. I'm so grateful that if you choose to believe this, that our souls chose to incarnate on the planet together during this huge time of transition. I'm so grateful to you. We have these sessions weekly. We also have a weekly yoga asana session, the physical postures of yoga. You can find my live schedule on my profile page, as well as many recordings, over 80 recordings on different topics, and 2 courses as well. One course is called Yogic Practices for a Peaceful Life, and the other is called Awaken My Heart, a Guide to Living with Self-Love. And we also have a group on the app called Love Heals All. Love Heals All is the name of the group. And all are welcome. Mm. I invite you to find a comfortable seated position and, if possible, to set aside any multitasking. One of our, it's funny, it's not really a superpower, but in a way it is. One of our superpowers is the choice to be still. In a life experience where there's, for many of us, especially in our modern day living, there's so much doing, mental doing, if not physical doing, or the combination of the two. And choosing to be still, although it may uh, really shine a light on all of the discomfort inside, when we take time to be still regularly, it is like a treasure trove of gifts for our lives. So if you can, I invite you to set aside any multitasking. And for anyone who isn't unfamiliar with the studies on multitasking, although sometimes it really feels like we're being more productive, and maybe sometimes we are getting more things done. But generally speaking, studies have shown that multitasking makes us less effective and less efficient. When our attention is split, we're not able to give ourselves fully to something. So either we're not completing each task as fully or effectively as we can, or because of this split in our attention, there's this lack of efficiency in general. And aside from effectiveness and efficiency, when we multitask, we're really feeding the habits and patterns of not being present. And the less present we are, the more likely it is that we're going to experience anxiousness, even depression, falling into mental habits of feeling like there's something we have to fix, change, there's something that's wrong here. When we are really present, fully present, it doesn't mean that all of a sudden, there are rainbows and unicorns and everything's perfect. But when we are really present, we meet ourselves in a way that gives space for everything inside, or we can let ourselves move into that. And it brings that mind that is all over the place. It guides it back to this place here again and again and again. And when we drop into an actual experience of presence, then all of those stories and even sometimes the emotions of everything wrong over here and everything that needs to change here and everything you don't like there, all of that dissolves. It may not happen instantaneously, but over a period of time, or maybe instantaneously, it dissolves. I invite you to be still now. Feel free to move your body a little bit so that you can settle in. Do what you need to do to feel like you can relax more, and then find stillness. And of course, if there's something happening in your body and you just can't be still today, there's no need to judge yourself. This is an invitation. And that's part of the power of being in community, doing things collectively. So set aside your device, your phone, your tablet, your computer. I invite you to close your eyes. Or if that's uncomfortable, you can just have your gaze relaxed, maybe looking downward. Imagine that you are the witness of yourself, almost like you're looking at yourself through the eyes of someone else. And let's imagine that this witness who's watching you is a presence of love and compassion. meaning they're not judging you. They're not looking at you and saying, this has to be different. That's wrong. That's bad. That's ugly. That's beautiful. They're just able to look at you from this place. Start to become aware of what's happening in your body. Notice sensations, feelings from this place of non judgment as much as possible. Allow a space between your teeth. Feel your jaw, your lips, and your throat softening. Feel the small muscles in the forehead, around the eyes and the mouth, spreading and softening. Take a deep breath in, shrug your shoulders up to your ears if you can move your body. And as you exhale, relax them down, just release them down. Inhale, shrug your shoulders up to your ears. As you exhale, just drop them down mindfully. I'll do this one more time. Inhale deeply, fully, really fill the body with breath. Exhale, let it out. Start to slow your breathing down, deepen it. Today, we're going to tend to our emotions in a compassionate way. If you're not feeling particularly uh, emotional today, or if there isn't a sense of maybe strong, uncomfortable emotion inside, you can just be with yourself in a kind way, a loving way throughout this meditation. Emotion, energy in motion. So often, when we have an uncomfortable emotional experience, the natural response is to get away from it, to distract ourselves, to comfort ourselves, not in a way that lets that emotion pass through, but a way that pushes it down inside. And the more that we do this, whether it's through thoughts like, I should be happy, so I'm going to repress this anger, or I'm not going to pay attention to this anger, but it's being repressed, or I shouldn't feel this way, or, ooh, this feels so horrible, I don't want to feel it. We have all of these ways and reasons that we push the emotion aside, but it doesn't leave the body. It builds up inside. For many of us, this is what we experience as anxiety. We think it's some issue outside of us or some problem with who we are, but really it's like filling up a jar with champagne and then shaking the jar. We fill up with these emotions and we keep pushing them down and pushing them down until our whole system is buzzing with repressed emotion. It's so uncomfortable to just even be, to slow down, to be still. Not because there's something wrong with you, but because there's such a buildup of energy inside. So today, we are going to take the lid off of that jar and create a compassionate space for these emotions to exist, to be allowed. When we push away emotion and repress it, it's almost as if we are pushing away, we are rejecting part of our own self who's crying out for our care or attention. Bring your awareness back to your body if it's drifted and move deep inside. Really start to feel any emotion that may be present. Notice where it is in your body. Maybe there's tightness in your throat, heaviness in your belly, tension behind your shoulder blades. Notice where this discomfort is being held in your body. And I invite you to consider that there are no bad emotions. Emotions are a natural part of life. None of them, none of them are wrong or bad. And you might even be able to name the emotions that you feel inside. If you can't, that's perfectly fine. Let it all start to bubble up to come to the surface. Whatever you feel comfortable to sit with today. If you can move your body, place your hands on a part of your body that feels like it needs your care. Maybe it's an area where you feel this discomfort or pain of emotion inside. And start to breathe deeply. Inhale through your mouth and exhale through your mouth. This may seem very awkward. I invite you to continue breathing in this way for these next moments. Inhale through your mouth, deep into your belly. Exhale through your mouth. We're opening this central channel, giving ourselves access to these deeper feelings inside. Inhale through the mouth and exhale through the mouth. If your lips are close together, allow the jaw to hang. Start to open the mouth wider. Really allow whatever emotional pain or discomfort is here to be felt. And I invite you to set aside whatever stories you're telling yourself about this pain. Oh, I'm sad because of this. I'm angry because of that. I feel ashamed because of this. Set aside the stories and feel yourself or imagine that you are diving deep inside of your own being, diving deep into the place where this pain is. Find the part of you that is in distress. Find the one inside who is in so much pain. You might imagine a version of yourself, or you might just sense this part of you that is in so much pain. And once you find it or sense it, give this part of you complete and total permission to express itself freely. Whatever you've been holding inside, give this part of you the space to let it out, to stop repressing it. Maybe this part of you just needs to scream, or maybe this part of you needs to say something that you've been holding back because we've been afraid to say it. Maybe this part of you just needs to sob and sob in your mind. Give this part of you permission to feel this pain. And if you allow it to start to move through your physical body right now, I invite you to just be really kind and mindful with your body. Don't cause any harm to the body if you're releasing the emotion through your physicality. Go ahead. Give this part of you total permission to express itself fully. And be authentic. This is your path to freedom. Stop playing nice. Stop pretending. Let this part of you be real. Scream, cry, say what you need to say. And remember to breathe. Breathe deeply. Just a few more moments like this. Let it all be released now. Don't hold anything back. Free yourself from all of this buildup of unexpressed emotion and thought. And I invite you to really be in this experience. Set aside your device. Give yourself this gift of being present with you. Take a deep breath. Exhale through the mouth, let out a sigh. And now ask this part of you, what do you need? And specifically ask, what do you need from me? So often we feel like someone else is going to fix issues or solve our problems, but what this part of us really needs is something from us. So give this part of you the space now to answer this question. What do you need from me? And listen, open your mind, open your heart. This part of you might say, I need you to stop judging me. I need you to accept me. I need you to be forgiving with me. I need you to give me permission to rest and do nothing. I need you to believe in me. I need you to have faith in me. I need you to love me. I need you to eat differently so I feel better. Listen, open your heart. Thank this part of you. Thank this part of you for being willing to be open to feel this pain, to have the courage to feel it. Thank this part of you for letting you in, expressing its needs, your needs. Take another full deep breath in and out. And now imagine giving this part of you what it is needing from you. Imagine it as if it is already your lifestyle or already something you're doing, not someday in the future, but imagine that you are already living in the way that this part of you is needing. If this part of you needs to be more honest and open in a specific relationship, imagine yourself embodying that honesty, that authenticity. If this part of you is needing for you to be more loving, imagine yourself feeling so good, full of this love and acceptance for yourself, toward yourself. See it in your mind, feel it in your body, all of these things you're needing, and feel it as if it is so, as if it is true. And as you imagine these different needs fulfilled, be so grateful to yourself. Feel this gratitude awakening, welling up from within. Breathe deeply. Again, thank yourself. Thank this part of you. Be so grateful to you. You may wish to place your hands over your heart center and massage gentle circles over your heart. Mm. Relax your body consciously, shoulders, jaw, throat, belly, hips. The whole body softens, relaxes in your seat. Take a deep breath in and then exhale through the mouth with a sigh. Ah. Inhale deeply and exhale with some sound. Ah. One more breath. Deep, full breath in. Exhale with a sigh. Really letting that full breath out. Ah. Ah. Offer any final kind words or gestures toward yourself that you wish. If you're still feeling tender or raw inside with emotion, I invite you to just be gentle with this part of you. Use your breath to slow things down inside. And know that sometimes when we take the time to have this healthy relationship to feeling our emotions, sometimes it makes it all, we feel it more because we're really bringing it to the surface. It won't always be this way. But when the emotion is still present, we can just continue meeting it with kindness. Can even practice saying to yourself, there is nothing wrong with me for feeling this way. There is nothing wrong with feeling this way. There is nothing wrong with feeling this way. Let's take another breath in together and out. Slowly begin to move the body in any way that feels good. Mhm. Take all the time you need. Sense the space around you. Maybe feel your feet on the floor or tucked underneath you. And whenever you're ready, slowly open the eyes, embodied, present with your inner world, with this whole expression, this full expression of self. Great, Mary. Wonderful. Mm. Yes, Gary and Sandy, I can relate to both of your shares. How was that for you? What are you present to now? Do you feel any more in touch with yourself? Do you feel it's interesting, sometimes when we do this work of really feeling fully, not kind of like living in a state of sadness that we're not actually feeling. It's kind of like many of us, we get into these patterns where maybe we'll feel sad all the time or angry all of the time or ashamed or afraid all the time, but it's like we're on the surface of the emotion, and so we just kind of keep recreating it and recreating it in our bodies and our brains and our minds. It's like this surface where we just kind of like live in this, zombified state of these unconscious emotional patterns. But when we do this work, it's like we are not just hanging out on the surface anymore, we're going inside. And when we go deep within and really feel, we allow this energy to move. We allow the stagnancy to move. And although it can be so uncomfortable and so painful, we often feel more freedom. Even if we're in the rawness of emotion, we feel more free. We feel more alive. We feel more present, even if there are other emotions there. There's this sense of turning off autopilot and actually being alive, present to life when we give ourselves permission to feel so deeply. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that experience with me. Steph, how's your ankle? How's it feeling? Mary shares, I am grateful for the person who created the heart button. Yeah. Gary shares, I'm not boiling with emotions today, which is good, but I feel for everyone who's boiling over. Yeah. And it's okay. I'd love to invite that it's okay to feel like we're boiling over. It's okay to feel emotion. It's okay to feel. We have this mm, such deep conditioning around feel happy, don't feel sad, feel, be nice, don't get angry. We have so much conditioning. It's okay. It's okay to feel sad. It's okay to feel angry. It's okay to feel lost. It's okay to feel terrified. It's okay to feel these emotions. It's okay. If you're boiling over today, what is that telling you? If you have this emotion coming up, what is it telling you? What is it showing you? Emotions can be guides, whether it's a guide showing us that there's some part of us inside that's saying, please listen to me, please take care of me, please love me. Or it's a guide showing us maybe that we are in an emotional pattern, meaning we are in an unconscious pattern of continuing to recreate an emotional experience because that's what we've been doing. Maybe my emotional pattern, my go to habit is sadness. Not maybe, it is. That's my go to emotion in my brain and my physiology and in my life and my mind. So sometimes there will be just some little trigger. Maybe I don't even realize there's a trigger. And my whole system will launch into this pattern of sadness. My body starts creating the biochemicals that make me feel sad. My mind starts telling me stories that cause the sadness to grow stronger. And then I usually say something like, why do I feel so sad? And then the more I ask that question, more sadness is going to arise. Yes, that's that loop that we get caught in, right? It's okay to feel. Emotion is a natural part of life. It's okay. It's okay. Let us learn to be kind with our emotions. Let us learn to be compassionate with ourselves. Let us learn to have a healthy relationship to these emotions. Emotions are the primary driving force for human beings. The majority of our decisions, unless we're really well trained, come happen from emotion. So many of our behaviors, they arise from emotion. So let us learn, let us practice having a healthy, loving, compassionate, accepting relationship with these energies. And if you haven't read the book, I'm not actually all the way through the book, so I don't know what's going to happen. But I feel very strongly about the first part of it so far, enough so to recommend it. If you haven't already read The Untethered Soul, I think by Michael Singer, I highly, highly recommend it. Emotions, thoughts, eh, all of these experiences that we have are also intimately part of our energetic systems. Many of us have spoken about these things in regards to yoga, not just the physical asanas, but yoga as this full practice of life. We have all these wheels of energy inside of us, these chakras, and over 72,000 energetic pathways through the body, these nadis. And the thoughts that we have and the emotions that we experience and our patterns and behaviors, they all impact what is happening energetically. I'll share one experience and then I'm going to come back because I know there were so many comments that just came in. Many of you have heard me share I've a very compassionate perspective on inner pain, where sometimes I find it really helpful to imagine that the part of me is in pain, or the part of me that is afraid, or the part of me that is angry, or the part of me that's frustrated, whatever it is, that part of me, or that it, we'll say that emotion that I'm feeling, that emotion of fear that I want to get rid of, the emotion of anger that I want to get rid of, that emotion I can imagine is part of me saying, please love me. Please listen to me. Please see me. Kind of like what we just did in our meditation. It's this beautiful, compassionate way of saying, rather than rejecting the fear and trying to get rid of the fear or get over the fear, I welcome the fear. I see this as part of me that is needing my care rather than trying to get rid of it, which is what so many of us do. An unpleasant experience arises and we say, how do I get rid of it? Let's clean that from our consciousness and say, how can I welcome it? How can I allow this to be here because it's just part of me asking for my love? So, although there's that perspective and many other fantastic teachings on understanding our emotions, I've been also playing with another perspective, and that is the more energetic component. Energy in motion, emotion. So, yesterday, I got really triggered by something. I felt really triggered by something. And I noticed that when that trigger occurred for me, my system's response was to shut down. So rather than being open and my heart feeling more free and spacious, there was this guard. And I won't go into all the details, but there are so many layers of what that guard can really feel like and look like for each of us. And I did not intentionally take the time to do my work to feel that part of me that was upset and to allow that energy to move, that emotion to move. Yes. So I went to sleep last night in a just fine mood. I watched a funny movie. I was in a great mood as far as I was concerned. I slept. I had a very disrupted sleep. Part of that was because of the movie I watched. But I woke up this morning and I recognized all of these feelings. Now, I was witnessing, but I noticed all of the old mental patterns arising. Oh no, why do I feel this way? Am I depressed? What do I have to do? What pranayama technique can I do? Which meditation should I do? You know, my mind was in the get rid of mode as I was witnessing it. And then I became aware, ah, what I'm experiencing right now is that energy that became stagnant in my heart center yesterday after getting triggered. That energy that I never took the time to tend to is still in my heart center, like a layer. in my field. So, so many of us live this way, right? An emotion arises and we say, "Oh, what's wrong with me? What do I have to change? Oh, it must be I need a new partner, I need a new job. I need all these things to change in my life." But what if what we're experiencing is stagnancy of energy that hasn't moved? So, just to recap so that I'm really making this point clearly, yesterday I had a contracting emotional experience and I felt this sense of covering my heart. There's this contraction in my heart. I didn't take the time to allow that energy to move. So, even though I covered it up, meaning even though I distracted my mind with other things, so I felt better, this energy in my heart center hadn't moved. And it wasn't until this morning when I was feeling all of these uncomfortable feelings that I recognized, this is the experience of that contracted energy not having moved. So I'd love to hear any thoughts you have about that, specifically about what you're seeing in yourself. What are you seeing in yourself in your own life through my share? Okay, here I go. I'm going all the way back through all of these comments that I missed. And okay. Oh, great stuff. So glad it's improving. Okay, we're going back to shares about the meditation. Anami shares, I fell asleep, but sorry, the comments just flew away. I fell asleep, but I was still here somehow. Transcendence. I really felt a need to scream, but surrounded by others. Sorry, the comments keep flying away. Surrounded by others, it's not really acceptable. So I just took a deep breath, opened my mouth as if to scream, and let suppose really intense sigh. I began feeling better and then passed out. Yeah, and that's also why I invite in this meditation to do this in your mind. You don't have to scream out loud. Yes, it can be so helpful to use our bodies, to use the somatic wisdom to move emotion and blocked energy. But sometimes we can actually just move it through the power of our minds. So if you find yourself, my friends, in a situation where you can't scream, where you can't say, I can't believe, you can't let out those words or those sounds that are in there and that built up emotion. Imagine this part of you in your mind, just letting it rip, letting everything come out, no holding back. Yes. And if you want to use your body to yell or scream or just to speak out those things you've been holding inside, again, I really invite you to do it with a sense of kindness and care for your physical body. For example, you don't want to go like hitting things and hurting your hands or your arms. So be really careful and thoughtful with your body. Thanks for sharing that, love. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. I'm just moving through the comments. Yeah, Angela sharing, sometimes the feelings are too much. Yeah, sometimes they can be so strong. And I see Steph shares, we can feel them in little bursts. Each time I let myself feel the anger or grief, I feel stronger and safer within. Yeah. And that's also why I've got this ant that's been crawling around on the mic for like the last 5 minutes. Hello, little friend. This is one reason why our physical practices and our meditation practices are so invaluable because they are like an inner maintenance, right? Sometimes an emotion feels so overwhelming, we just don't even know how to face it. Having a regular meditation practice is helping attune our nervous systems, our brains, our minds to be able to meet our emotions in our health in a healthy way or tend to our emotions. Yes. And of course physical practices as well, because for many of us, moving the physical body, I think probably for all of us, moving the physical body allows stagnant energy to move as well. And so we use these different exercises in our lives or techniques in our lives to have daily maintenance for that well-being so that it feels a little easier generally to sit with those emotions. Hi, Evie. Yeah, so Evie's sharing something really important. Thank you so much for sharing, love. Evie is sharing, I feel overwhelmed with sadness after this. My invitation, love, hold your heart right now. Hold your heart and let yourself breathe into the sadness. Feel in your body where you feel that sadness. Is it in your chest? Is it in your face? Is it in your throat? Where is it? Maybe behind your heart, on your back. Just hold yourself and just let yourself breathe into it. And then what is something kind you can say to yourself? Maybe you say, it's okay to feel this way. I'm right here and I'm not going anywhere. It's okay to feel the sadness. It's okay. Just keep being kind with yourself. And if you find that your mind is looping some painful or sad story, that's when we can step in and use that power of our minds to say, oh, look, my mind is perpetuating this emotion. So I'm going to tell my mind, not now. I'm going to set those stories to the side and just really lovingly hold myself. And what we'll find quite often, if we truly sit with an emotion, meaning if we really breathe into it and let ourselves feel it without feeding the mind with painful stories, that emotion becomes lighter and lighter and ultimately dissolves. But the first step is that loving presence, at least for me. Loving presence is what you're saying, feeling. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Hmm. Oh, Maureen, I'm so glad it serves. Thank you for your donations. Thank you. Thank you for supporting me in my life. Yes, Steph, The Untethered Soul. It's a really fantastic book. Yes, Sandy. Yeah. So Gary Sharon, I have a low mood today. Low moods tend to bring me fear. Yeah. And there are many ways we can look at that. We can consider that this is part of a pattern inside. Yes, that maybe when you feel tired, your system is hardwired or wired. Your system is wired to fall into more fearful thinking. But the thing about this is it's not who you are. Low moods, feelings of fear, thoughts of fear, they're not who you are. They're an experience. How do you know they're an experience? Because it comes and goes. And also because you are able to say, I feel fear. If you're able to say, I feel fear, doesn't that mean you are the one feeling and not the fear? The fear is an experience. So, this is a great place for inquiry. We can ask ourselves, what emotional patterns and habits do I live in? Maybe you find that if somebody says a certain thing, you always get angry. Or if somebody expresses themselves in a certain way, you always feel sad. Or maybe everything you read online always makes you angry, or everything you read always makes you sad, or you find yourself seeking out things to read or watch that make you feel more sad. These are patterns. And we could even say these are emotions that we become addicted to. We have many inner behaviors and emotional experiences that we can become addicted to. And so our minds and even our subconscious mind will seek out ways to feed that pattern of moving toward that experience. So, Gary, just like we did a moment ago with Evie, can you place a hand on your heart? And can you just practice welcoming the fear, setting aside the story? Recognize that mental loop, my friends. If you haven't listened to it before, I have many different talks on it, but one is a talk that says something like how to stop mental looping or how to get out of mental loops. It's here on the app. And it really reminds us, oh yeah, my mind is feeding my emotions feed the thoughts, and I get stuck in these cycles. And you have the power to shift that if you choose. Takes practice. I've been practicing it for years, even maybe decades at this point, and I still get caught in them sometimes, but they do become less and less and less. We become less um, taken over by them. We have more consciousness in the experience. I can't actually remember the last time I got really caught in a loop because I'm aware of how my mind does that now. So I choose to consciously step out of it. Now, sometimes I'm just unconscious and it occurs. But the moment I become aware, oh, look what I'm doing. And I use my tools to step out of it. Thank you for sharing. Hmm. Miriam, it looks like I might have missed part of a comment. Maybe you were just sharing that you were feeling some fear also. So I invite you to take everything I just shared with Evie and with Gary and see how that applies to you. See how that serves you, how you can serve yourself with that, if that resonates for you. Hmm. Yeah, Gary's sharing. I sure do create some amazing stories. Yes, call your habits out. That's so good. That's so good. Oh, good, Evie. Good, my love. That's it. It's so. Remember how I was saying so many of us will live on the surface of an emotion? An emotion only lasts for 90 seconds in the brain, 1.5 minutes. That's how long an emotion lasts in the brain. So if we're really constantly feeling it, it's because we're feeding it. We're feeding it with our thoughts. And because we're kind of sustaining it, like I was saying, that surface level there. So we can live for days, weeks, months, years on the surface of recreating that emotion. But when we dive into it, and we'll feel sad all the time, right? It'll just be there, right? This pervasive feeling. But when we dive into it and we let our hearts crack open, when we let ourselves feel it so fully, it's like we're welcoming the fullness of who we are. If you had an infant child in your life who felt sad, would you say, "Get out of here"? No. If you had an infant in your life who came and you could just tell their heart was aching so badly, what would you want to do? Whether it was your baby or someone else's baby, if you could really see the tenderness of this young child and their sadness, what would your instinct be from your heart? Share in the chat. What would your instinct be if you saw this precious child who was sad? Hug them, cuddle and comfort them, scoop it up and love it up. So, my question is, why don't you do that for yourself? Isn't your fear, isn't the fear that you feel just like that precious one that needs to be held and loved? Isn't the sadness just part of your experience that doesn't need to be rejected so you feel fragmented, but welcomed in? And for everyone who's written something here about what you would do for that child, I invite you to do that for yourself. The next time you feel any emotion that you reject, any emotion that you feel like you need to get rid of, any feeling inside that you feel like, oh, I just need this to go away, I invite you to do that to yourself, for yourself. Oh, that's very beautiful, Gary. Thanks for sharing. I'm so grateful. What a life, what a world we live in. What a world we live in where we can come together from all around the planet and spend an hour together talking about things like this. This would not have happened 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 30 years ago. This would not have happened. And if it did, it would have been a very specific group of people exclusive, isolated, you know? What is happening on the planet now where this is the norm, where something like this is normal? Wow, we are so blessed. We are so fortunate. Carrie's asking, can I ask, how do you feel it? Great question, Carrie. Were you here for the meditation at the beginning today? Okay. So I have a meditation here on the app. It's called self-soothing, self self-soothe, maybe? I think it's called self-soothe. And this is a meditation that I created as a way to help me feel emotional discomfort when I just didn't know how to access it. So I invite you and anyone who just wants to go through that experience again, or maybe right now you feel like there's more in there that you need to go into and you'd like that support of guidance, go ahead and listen to the meditation again. Listen to it as often as you need. You know, it's like we were saying earlier, how the emotions are like a jar that's been filled up with champagne and then the lid's been put on, it's been shaken up. Today, it's like we're taking that lid off, yes, and we're starting to pour out some of that champagne, but there's still more in there. So use this meditation as often as you like. In even on the days that you feel really cool and calm, you might use it as a way just to go in and clean house, maybe move any last bits of stagnant energy or just go meet that part of you inside and just sit with that part of you lovingly. Oh, thank you, Mary. I love you. Great, Evie. Great. Yeah, it can be really helpful to use as again, as a maintenance meditation. Yeah. Imagine what life would be like if you listened to that meditation. This ant is still on the mic. What a trip. Might be is that an ant? Might be a termite. I don't know. Or just a really cool looking ant. Um, imagine how you would be with yourself if no matter how you were feeling, you listened to this meditation for 21 days straight. It takes 21 days to create a new habit, and it takes 66 days for that new habit to start to feel more natural. Imagine if you listened to this every single day for 21 days or even 66 days. Imagine what your relationship to your emotions would be like. Yeah, I guess so. Although he's been running around just circling it the whole time. Uh, yes, Carrie. That's that's the grace of love. Yes. I'm grateful you experienced the comfort of that. Great question, Evie. And that is something we can talk about another time. To keep it simple, thousands of years of miseducation and lack of education being passed down from one to the next, to the next, to the next. Yeah, he is looping. Chill out, guy. It's okay. You can calm down. Everything's going to be okay. See, this is what we do. Actually, this is perfect. This is a perfect example. So, where is he now? See this guy running around? He's just running around. Oh, he's going to run around again. This is what we do to ourselves. So we do. We exhaust ourselves. We wonder why we're so exhausted. We think it's because of our jobs and because we didn't get enough sleep. But sometimes, maybe even more than sometimes, the reason we feel exhausted is because of the energy not flowing inside. There's so much stagnancy in our systems. And I would even venture to say that that is always the foundation of why we feel exhausted. Even if there is something very taxing happening in our lives, it starts with our energetic systems. And if there's stagnant energy inside, we are going to feel exhausted. That's also sometimes when we have big emotional releases, we feel exhausted afterward because we've been resisting that for so long, expending so much of our energy, just trying not to feel it, trying to push it away, trying to keep it out of our system. That when we finally open and let it, it's like, oh, we can feel all of that space that's being taken up, all of that efforting from trying not to feel. Elena. Yes. Oh, that's great. The ant just needs your love. The ant needs his own love, right? Uh, I'm enjoying your laughter. Anami's asking, Selena, may I ask what you meant when you said, transcendence? Yes, yes. And then we're going to complete because we've already gone 6 minutes over. Transcendence is a term that refers to an experience of consciousness. It can refer to other things, but in this context, when we go into a deep state of meditation where the mind starts to turn off, or where we feel like we're sleeping, but we're still conscious, this is transcendence. It is, you could say, like an expansion of our consciousness where we are in a moment. How to say this? We are not limited to our experience of our identity, of our body, of our thoughts and emotions. But we have this experience of consciousness and presence beyond that. And this is something many of us experience during meditation. If you don't experience it, no issue. Don't worry. Just let it go. But is this experience, like you were sharing, where you feel like you've fallen asleep, but you're still conscious in a way? We often experience this in yoga nidra, this transcendence, this expansion of consciousness. And I guess I don't even know if consciousness can expand. I know we say things like that. We say the expansion of consciousness. I guess on some level in the realm of duality it could, because I see consciousness as this infinity, this infinite ocean of presence. This is consciousness. But I guess consciousness does take form. So within that, the consciousness can expand and contract. Hope that answers your question. Great, Carrie. Good awareness. Yes, the ant is our teacher, still running around the mic. It must be the vibrations. You know how sometimes ants are attracted to electricity? There must be something in the vibrations of the mic or the heat or something, but it's just staying on the top part. It's still there. Oh, thank you all. Thank you all. Yes, and great, great gratitude to Insight Timer for making this available to us, for creating a space where we can be together. Oh, Mary, so sweet. Oh, that's so beautiful, Gary. And I'm going to say this before we close today because I feel like it's right in alignment with everything we're journeying on today. Our beloved Gary shared, I don't know any of you personally, but I love all of you, and I definitely don't want you guys to feel pain. I'm just happy that you accept me into your community. It's not our community, it's your community, first of all. And this is what I'd like to say to close today. Hi, Richard. Naturally, the compassionate heart wishes for others to be free from pain. However, our desire for others not to feel pain is often rooted in the resistance of our own pain. For example, if you're with someone who's crying and you find yourself saying, don't cry, don't cry, don't cry, it's okay. It's because it's triggering something inside of you where you don't want to feel the sadness within you. So, although the compassionate heart may wish for all to be free from suffering, yes, absolutely. Pain, as we spoke about last time and we speak about often, pain can be and maybe is the greatest catalyst for remembering who we are. Pain is the greatest catalyst to feel a freedom beyond any freedom you've ever even imagined. Pain is a catalyst to break down the walls of illusion so you may remember the wholeness, the fullness, the beauty, and the perfection of your being. Pain is the catalyst for bringing you home to yourself. Pain is the catalyst to wake you up from the dream where you thought you were separate, to remember that you are one with all of life. Pain can be our greatest gift. Imagine what your life would be like if you took on the perspective that pain is your greatest gift. You don't have to say anything now. If you choose, I invite you to inquire, what if pain, I'm not saying it is or isn't, by the way, what if pain is one of the greatest gifts of my life? What if pain shakes me up from this deep, deep slumber so that I can be free? If you took on that perspective, wouldn't you want people in your life to face their pain fully so they could be free? Yeah, I love you. How could I not love you? How could I not love you when we are one? I feel your presence in my, not just my heart, in my whole being. I cherish you. I honor you. And I'm so very grateful to you. Dear Richard, I love you, love you, love you. Mm, great, great inquiry there. Keep going deeper, my love. See what arises for you. Explore it. Open your mind like the innocent mind of a child who doesn't have preconceived notions. I see many of your faces that I've seen in our self love course. So wonderful to get to be together in these live moments. Richard is one of the participants here who has a different name. Great question. I know that might seem a little strange. I know some of your stealth names. Ah, so thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Time to transition. I have a client. I carry you with me in my heart always. I'm so grateful for our time together. If you haven't already joined our self love journey, I invite you to. So, so rich to be in that together. Hey, you know what, Mary? The ant is gone. Yeah, it's time to move on. The ant was giving us darshan, giving blessing us. Actually, I swear this is the last thing I'm going to say, and then I'm I'm really ending the session. I had an awareness once This fruit fly was buzzing around my face, and my, response was to go like get it out of my face, right? And then I just had this awareness came in and it was like, well, what if that's your most beloved? What if that's Saima taking a different form of consciousness? What if that's source taking another form of consciousness, which it is? Like what if that's God or however you want to think about it, taking another form of consciousness, buzzing around your face? So now every time a little gnat flies around my face, rather than like throwing it or trying to make it go away, I have the thought, oh, I'm being visited by my beloveds in another form of consciousness. And that's the truth of all of it. This ant was another form of God, of source, sharing presence. Each of us, the birds, the earth, the animals, the insects, source, love. We're going to close now. Um, I unfortunately will not be meeting on Friday for our asana session. That was a bad on my part. I forgot to schedule it in a time. So we'll be back together again for our 2 sessions per week, Wednesday. And next Wednesday, our session is going to be 2 hours earlier, just because sometimes I like to switch it up for our folks on the other side of the planet. Some of you, yes. So remember, you can always check my live schedule. I just added a bunch of new sessions. Check that out on my profile page. We'll be together next week at 4 p.m. Eastern for our satsang. And then we'll be together next Friday. We'll have one more week of a hatha session. We might do a couple of standing poses, but we're going to still do more hatha rather than vinyasa. And then hopefully by then, after that, my ankle will be ready. Okay. Love you. Love you, love you, love you. Blessings, blessings, blessings to you, my most beloved.